So for citizens who may not fully understand it, just explain briefly how constituency CDF operates from allocation to project implementation.
Okay. So, thanks for giving me this opportunity. What I must say is that CDF derives its powers from an act of parliament. Yeah, so the one that we started with is Act number 11 of 2018, but it has since been amended to CDF Act number 1 of 2024. So this CDF Act gives the various information in terms of composition, in terms of what the CDF committee, in terms of who is involved, the various ministries and stakeholders. And for your own information, CDF has always been there since 1995, except that it was a very, very small amount. I think it had a different name. So in terms of management, in terms of operational direction, and how is allocated and how is implemented, you find this in the CDF Act that I've talked about. And then the ministry also did some guidelines to follow for those that don't want to read the act. So what it is that the CDF, they say, like, it is now at 40 million. At 40 million, is broken down into 3 components, which is community projects at 60%. Then 20% it covers skills and bursaries for youth. Then the 20% that remains is for empowerment, which is loans and grants. So what happens is that how do we allocate? Each constituency has got wards. Each constituency has got wards, and each ward has got zones. For instance, a zone would be like maybe 500 households, for instance, 500 households. So there will be a zone leader in that area. And then another zone would have maybe, if you are in Chipurukusu, the number of houses would be so many, as opposed to Kansenshi, where they are so. Yeah, so these zone leaders form the ward development committees. Some are elected because, some are elected from the zone leaders to form the ward development committee. So the ward development committee is formed under the Local Government Act, not the CDF Act. So they deal directly with council. And they are given roles and responsibilities to play. For instance, cash for work falls directly under ward development committees. Now for CDF, what happens is that because these are zones, the problems that are in that particular zone are known by the zone leader. So when it's time to apply for a project, they will say, this area, we need a bridge. Okay? The zone leaders and the community will say, we need a bridge here, or we need a clinic, we need a school, we need roads, we need street lights. So the zone leader will pick that information and join other zone leaders where they would have formed the ward development committee, which has a chair and an executive. So the ward development committee would sit to look at what the zone leaders have presented for consideration to be done in their zones. Then they list the projects. Sometimes they even do estimates themselves, because some of these people that are retired are engineers, some are accountants. So they work together to say, this project, if it's given to us, it will cost 600,000. In the same vein, for skills, the applicants go to these same zone leaders.
Committee.
And included in the ward development committee would be the councillor, ward councillor. So they verify the vulnerability of the applicants to say, okay, at house number 6, they are just Bambuya, their grandparents, they are looking after 2, 3, 4 children that they truly need this course. It's the same for empowerment, which is in grants. They will confirm to the CDF committee that there's a group which has been formed as a cooperative or as a club. So we can vouch for them in terms of the support that they need. It's the same for loans. So these people receive the applications from the communities in the area, because they also have to confirm that this applicant has lived in this area for at least a minimum of 6 months. So these things are now sent to the secretariat, which is the council. The council will then inform the CDF committee chairperson that we have received so many applications for skills, for projects, for empowerment, which is loans and grants. Then CDF chair will call for a meeting to look at those submissions. And what development committee would have, like projects, would have even prioritized the projects to say, if you have to be given any project, priority number 1 is this one, number 2 is this one, number 3 is this one, number 4 is this one, number 5 is this one. So then for projects, what we do, we pick the priority projects that have been given to us by the wards who would have received this information from the zone leaders and the community. Then we give to a group called Technical Appraisal Committee to go and do an independent assessment to establish the cost of doing a particular project. How much will this project cost? Yes. Then after like 4 weeks, they come back with their figures, because they go out in the field, like if it's they are talking about street lighting, for instance, the engineers will go and measure the length of the road, how many poles will be required, what kind of wattage will be required in that area, and stuff like that. So they will give us figures after like 4 weeks, because the projects will be not 10, there will be more than 40. So they have to assess each and every one of the projects. Then we make decisions based on the presentation that the Technical Appraisal Committee will give us. So say, okay, project 1 is costing 1.5. Okay, this ward, we give it 1.5 million for this project. Then you go to another ward, For Ndola Central, there are 7 wards. So we give each ward one project, in priority order. Then if the money is still there within that 60%, we give the second project. If there's still some balance, we give the third project. If there's still some balance, we give the fourth project. And then we give to the maximum, 60% maximum. So once we've exhausted the 60% that is allocated to projects, we seek for ministerial consent. Then once the consent comes, it's government funds, taxpayers' money. So once the consent comes, ministerial consent, we now tell council, can you advertise the projects? So they advertise the projects, then contractors, whoever wants to participate, it goes on EGP government portal. The projects are placed there. Then those that access the government portal will see the projects. Then they will go for site visits. And the site visits, they produce a register. Pongo Sand Contractors has attended, he or she signs the NRC contact number. So then they are told, those that want to bid, you can bid. When they go for site visit, the details of the project are explained in finer detail to those that are visiting the project site. Then they bid online. And the CDF at that stage, CDF is not involved when it's procurement, because the Procurement Act comes into effect at that stage. So we are not members of the procurement committee. So then the winner is taken after the normal procurement process, And then we are told the CDF committee, they will write a letter, the council will write a letter to the town clerk, say, we have awarded the contract to this company A for this project. Site possession will be on such and such a day. Your availability is required. So then we go to hand over the site and impress upon the contractor to remain focused on quality and time. Yes, and to employ local labor within that area. That is on the project. So then once the project takes off, we have what is called the monitoring and evaluation team. There are various people in the act that are appointed to monitor and evaluate. And in addition to that, central government can send the auditors to go and check. The Ministry of Local Government can also send these people to go and check the project. The permanent secretary, minister, whoever, MP, they come to monitor the project. And also the presidential delivery unit from State House will also visit the constituents. They will do a random check for projects, for grants and loans. So it's a long process. In a summarized position, that's the position, yeah.
I apologize. I didn't ask you to, because I know you, so I didn't ask you to just give me your introduction, so we know what you do in CDF.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Ngosa is my name. I'm the CDF chairperson for Ndola Central, which is the constituency in the heart of Ndola. It's a critical constituency because we keep and we have all the key installations in Ndola Central. Big hospital, the airport, the stadium, the universities, council, cabinet office, police, immigration, railways, and mention it, they're in Ndola Central. So we face a lot of challenges in dealing with CDF because we have the big boys and girls within the Ndola Central. Yeah. So my role as the CDF chairperson, is to coordinate the efforts of the wards into the secretariat, which is the council, and to make decisions collectively. But at the end of the day, I need to be forceful to ensure that we make the right decisions, because a group, you can go astray because some people could have interests. So you need to be firm, because when you look at the composition of the CDF committee, we have the district commissioner, the MP himself or herself, the church, youth groups, the disabled, women groups. So the composition is wide and varied, meaning people who come with different interests. So you have to be a very strong chairperson to convince this and say, we are not going to do this. The district commissioner will say, no, let's support this, but you need to understand the whole thing to make a firm and better decision. Yeah.
How are all these people appointed to be on the committee, or the CDF committee? How is the appointment done?
Yeah, so for the DC is straightforward, because they are specific. They are in the act. They are mentioned: district commissioner, member of parliament, director engineering at council, director of finance at council, director of planning at council. Then these other groups, you involve the parliamentary office to engage the youth groups, the faith-based groups, the NGOs, to write to those organizations and say, give us one person to sit on this CDF committee from your organization. So the organization itself will make a decision to say, we are putting Ngosa from faith-based as the Father Ngosa to sit on that committee.
Oh, well,
yeah. So it's in the act. Then yeah.
In the last two, 3 years, how has their disbursements been from local? I don't know. You get from money from local government or Ministry of Finance. I don't know. How has it been the disbursement?
Yes. Okay, so funds move from the Ministry of Local Government to prepare schedules of all the constituencies. To say this constituency for projects is 16 million, for grants is so much, for loans is so much. Then they give the schedule to the Minister of Finance, I think, who just at the touch of a button, the funds will hit the accounts.
Oh,
yes. So previously, previously would get in 2022 would get funds like at a time maybe 8 million, 9 million, 6 million. You are given as the quotas go. But implementation was slow when we just started, because we had to understand the mechanics. So implementation in the first year was pretty slow, yeah. And then when the drought became very pronounced in this country, the government would go to borrow from commercial banks to meet the challenges of drought. And they would borrow from commercial banks. Meanwhile, CDF money would be seated on the CDF account. And when you multiply the amount of money seated per constituency times 156, you find this several billions doing nothing, waiting for projects to get started. So government mopped the funds back and said, you request for the funds as payments for due. So that's the system that is currently running. So periodically they will send money, then you pay contractors, will pay loans, will pay grants, will pay administrative fees for CDF committee members and the other things like running the vehicle, changing tires, allowances and stuff like that from the admin component, which is 5% of the total budget. And we also have a disaster component of 5% of the 60% of the project's value, which is set aside to cover emergencies that occur in the constituency, like heavy rains this side, the Kama Bridge has collapsed there. So this bridge is quickly assessed. We need 140,000 to make it passable. Then we release the funds as CDF to go to that kind of emergency. Yeah. So funding has been coming, but you can say that maybe for one particular year it has not been full because they mopped back the fund, and the funds did not come back in full, which we are still waiting for. Yeah.
At one point, Ngosa, I saw a report that 770 million CDF funds were not utilized. What could have been the problem?
So when they started mopping back the funds to central government from CDF accounts that were not showing any activity in terms of CDF implementation, that's the amount.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the amount. It went back to central government, and then we are now supposed to request for it. But you know the way government works. They say that once the budget, you reach end of the month, end of the year, the budget is closed. So until they do a supplementary budget. So we are waiting for those funds for a number of projects that have, which overrun into the following year. That's the funds, yeah. That's the fund that is sitting, that's about, yes.
Ordinary citizens, other than the people who sit on the committees, ordinary citizens, is there a way of participating in the CDF, checking what is happening? Is there a way which is open?
Yes. So what what we did from inception was to call stakeholders, the churches, schools, police, and what to a seminar to say you are key stakeholders in the implementation of CDF. They go on site to see a project being implemented and to ask certain questions. And they will quickly circulate the information saying, no, this contractor is not doing anything. So they are key stakeholders.
Oh, nice.
Yes, they are key stakeholders. So if you are making a bridge and they have had no bridge, they will quickly post, no, it's using 6 millimeters instead of 12 millimeter for these bars and stuff like that. Yeah, so we get bashed left, right, and center on social media, even on radio. Then we also go on radio, various radio stations. There are various community radio stations here in Ndola. We go on radio to explain this. They call, they complain, they compliment, they do this. So they participate in the projects. For the empowerment, like grants, the same what development committees and zone leaders, they are given the responsibilities to monitor what is happening and what's not happening in the clubs that we have in the constituency. Yeah, so people are involved. People are involved.
We are seeing again. You've mentioned social media. Some sections are very active. You can see, for instance, this guy in Kanchibia, Chanda, is doing big things. And then others are on the quieter side. Does that mean nothing is happening there? Or you would say implementation is imbalanced? Are we implementing things at the same rate?
No. So when you go to a town which has one constituency, implementation is a lot easier. When you come to Ndola, Kitwe, Lusaka, and other areas that have more than 2 constituencies, then implementation becomes a problem because we use the same engineers, we use the same finance department, we use the same planning department, the same planners, the same quantity surveyor. So they'll be required. Ndola Central would have 15 projects, for instance, in year 1, 16 projects. Then they are required to visit all these projects as engineers. Because they are called project managers. Meanwhile, he's got in Bwanamkubwa constituency another 18 projects. In Chifubu constituency another 20 projects. So they are on the run, and sometimes there's a compromise of quality there. But when you go to Kanchiwia, the guy is active on social media. It's one constituency, it's one district. So whatever he does, he quickly posts. And once it's procurement meeting, there's a procurement meeting. It's just one meeting for one constituency. Now, when we have procurement meetings here, it's for Ndola Central, for Chifubu, for Bwanamkubwa, and they have in the act, there are certain requirements. You must give notice 2 weeks for the procurement committee meeting to meet, and so we drag with that bureaucracy in the system. Yeah, so for me, I know there's a question at the end there. One of the suggestions I would make is to make CDF as a department on its own, to be managed properly with its own staff, to be managed properly. Because this idea of your council has got one chief quantity surveyor. Okay, that's the structure. One chief quantity surveyor. Then a quantity surveyor there, quantity surveyor there. So if the one quantity surveyor goes to Chifubu to look at 10 projects for figures and stuff like that, the chief quantity surveyor must be comfortable that what the engineer is presenting is making sense. So he or she will get overwhelmed. So yeah, but it's a challenge there. It's a challenge. That's why where procurement is done once in a month, all the projects are chosen, all the projects start running, and results will soon appear within 3 months, because most of these contracts are like 3 months. yeah, to street light up a place, you give 3 months at the west, at the most. So yeah, that's the thing about somebody. Let me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the problem with
You
implementation.
talked about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talked about people. Okay, you talked about people calling on the radio, complaining, this and that. What is the major complaint you usually hear from people who are calling you on the radio?
Mostly it is to do with empowerment. Where there will be empowerment, where grants is free money. So when you get free money, you have let's say, for argument's sake, 2.4 million is for grants. Okay, set aside 2.4 million for grant, free money. Now, when we get applications from the community, from the ward development committees, the value would be like maybe 23 million. The value of those applications. So they outstrip the budget. So now someone will call to say, I applied last year, even this year I've not been considered. But can you see a situation where the total applications are amounting to 23 million kwacha, but the amount available is 2.4 million? How many can you give? Complain, no, there is favoritism. You are giving others, you are giving your own people, you are giving people in the committee, but it doesn't work out that way. It's just that given me 23 million, everybody would get, but you can't operate like that. Yeah.
You can't.
So same for loans. Loans, you have 67 million in terms of requests, meaning you have 450 applicants and you have 2.6 million or 3.2 million. The 450 million applicants are calling for 67 million. You have 2.6. So this is how we just give, like, okay, poultry, you want to start chicken rearing, instead of you giving 200,000, which is the maximum, we'll give you 50,000, because even in 50,000 you can start rearing chickens. So that we give 80 applicants, for instance, from 450. Then the money is exhausted. Yeah. So the complaints are favoritism. Yeah. The complaints are the favoritism. Then other complaints on projects. Why where the ward where the CDF chair lives, why did you give it 3 projects instead of 2? And why did you give the other project where there's no committee member 2 or none or 1? So, or why did you give 40 students? Why did you send 40 students to Notek for skills, those that come from Kansensh, instead of 40 students from Chipurukusu? You see what I mean? So they will say you are favoring yourselves, which is not the case. It's for skills we have age limit. We have also particular skills that there are courses that are not considered skills. So somebody would want to apply to become a nurse, it's not a skill. Somebody would want to apply to become a teacher, not a skill. So until you explain the details, people will keep complaining. Yeah.
It's very interesting. One of the things Wapo I've always thought about is CDF. What is the long-term plan? Is it going to be always going to be funded by government? Or is there a way we can use the CDF to be a self, I don't know how I'll call it, a self-financing?
Self-supporting.
Self-supporting. Is there such a component in CDF in the long run?
Yes. For loans, for loans, it's supposed to be revolving funds. People get a loan of 50,000, 80,000, 100,000, 150,000. They are supposed to start paying back after so many months after getting the loan. They are supposed to start paying. Then the recoveries we are supposed to give to other applicants, but the recoveries are extremely slow. For grants is free money. For skills is free money because we pay institutions. So the only area which is revolving is loans. For projects, it can't revolve. The president at one time, when he was launching the decentralization policy, was calling for doubling of the amount that government sets aside. If they set aside 40, he was requesting that if cooperating partners can put in another 40, then there can be more development coming through into a constituency. So I don't think that has been received favorably at 100%. So it's government funding. So it's for this year going forward. Actually, what has happened is the bit of the 20% in empowerment. The amount that is meant for loans will go elsewhere, not to go to new loan applicants, because they are saying you should have recovered enough the last 3 years. So use the funds that are in the revolving account to give loans. But the recovery is scary.
Yeah. If people don't pay, is there a penalty to it? What happens?
Yeah, so the responsibilities for council, they had not actually thought out that very well, I think. First, the responsibility to recover was with the banks. But you know, the process of reviewing these loans was with what development committees, then the CDF committee would review. But how we are reviewing this, it was just like you have a checklist. Is the board resolution there? Yes. Is the cash flow there? Yes. Is memorandum of articles there? Yes. The requirements, ZRA, yes. Whatever documents, if they are attached, we let it pass and it goes to the bank. The bank will just also go through the same process of the checklist. Is this there? Is this there? Is this there? But not the financial viability of a project. That's where things have been a bit difficult. So the responsibility to monitor and recover has shifted back to council. Now council is overwhelmed. So so they have to start. They have to start it somehow. They have to start it somehow. Some councils have sued individual applicants for recovery, and it's working somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Do we have some in Ndola success stories you are able to share with us as far as CDF is concerned?
Yes, in terms of projects, we have done more than 50 projects in Ndola Central that are standing in terms of construction of health posts or clinics, equipping them, 1x3 classroom blocks, desks, computer labs, science labs, bridges, street lighting. Some roads have been shorter distances have been paved, those that are badly potholed short distances. Then some for those falling under skills, some are working and you know, they are happy. For grants, some are success story. Most of them applied for chicken rearing. Some we had to boost with some we have to boost with sorry, I was interrupted here. Some for loans, we have a few that have made it. We go to monitor, but the challenges that we face is you call the applicant and they know if it's coming from the council, it's coming from the council or CDF chairperson. We are coming to see you tomorrow at 11 hours. No, I'm actually in Livingstone. It's avoiding. So funds have been misapplied, but like small ones like barber shops, mobile money providers, these boots, Yango, some have bought vehicles, they are working, some are making blocks because construction works everywhere, so block making and stuff like that. Some are doing well with chickens, some eggs and stuff like that, but at less than 30%.
All in all, what can you say about CDF program, Bako?
The idea is good. The people, the recipients have taken things differently. They are handling the funds differently. They understand the funds differently. A grant, some Bapanga club, they more form a club, a cooperative, and on the basis of the resolutions of a cooperative, we approve a grant of, let's say, 30,000. Go and start chicken rearing or block making. When they get the money, because they know it's a grant, but how many are we? 15. Two pin. They share the money and the club collapses. So that is the challenge. But the idea is good. So for me, even if the grants were removed, it will be helped so that the component meant for grants, if it went to projects, we're able to do projects. Then you'll be able to buy desks for schools. We're able to put sort of water tanks and clinics with running water in
Mm-hmm. Well, you've given me, I think, everything I needed. There's a lot I didn't know. There is a lot I didn't understand. Yeah, and I hope this will be very helpful to my colleagues when we do the show. I'll give you the feedback after the show tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm going to cut some of the clips
Okay.
which we have done here. I'll share with my colleagues. Yeah. Any last word, Ngosa?
Okay. Yes. Thank you for first inviting me to share with you people in the diaspora. But the message is that for projects, CDF is a good thing because we have seen that it has helped local contractors who are not able to find jobs to get some jobs. The issue of monitoring and evaluating, we could have challenges, but we try as much as possible to ensure that before the project reaches like 70% or even 50%, the wrongs are rectified instead of bringing down a structure which is at 70% that no, this is bullshit and stuff like that. So we try as much as possible to monitor these projects. So some contractors have employed some people who were just idling, and they have had some income, and contractors are moving from this site. They'll go to Chifubu, they'll get a contract, and they'll be working somewhere. They'll be doing roads like graveling and grading. They will hire equipment there and do some business. The ripple effects is they have to ensure that there's insurance and stuff like that. So insurance companies are benefiting, commercial banks are benefiting, schools are benefiting, small suppliers are benefiting, small restaurants can sell food to those contractors who are in their area. It's a good thing for me. But the focus should be more on skills, bursaries, and skills and bursaries must be expanded to include even teaching, because there are plenty of vulnerable children who prefer to become a teacher or a nurse or biomedical students, but those are not treated as a skill because you need to apply for a job to start nursing. But there are plenty of vulnerables that are being left out in that area. But if they can be considered and other courses, they need to go a long way. If loans and grants are moved out to go to bursaries and projects, then we'll be improving the constituencies where we are, because we are supposed to empower people in the constituency. So for the work that we are doing, we could have faced challenges, but like I was saying, be forceful. That diverse background of committee members brings the quality, brings the serious input into deliverables, and we have been moving. In the recent past, it's been better than when we first started. So the next lot of people that will take over from us would have found a solid base that we have established here. So it's been rough.
Yeah,
It's been rough. It can be difficult. People
and
are calling
exciting.
you from people are calling you from everywhere. People are calling you from everywhere. Yeah, hey, this is what. But it's been an exciting journey. The amount of interaction we have experienced with leadership at various levels has been a good exposure for us. Some of us that were not public speakers were able to stand up and talk without a script. When you're handing over projects, the minister is seated there, DC is seated, mayor, and everybody just stand up and speak confidently. So it's been a good journey, and we thank government for increasing CDF to this level. Yeah. So for you in the diaspora, thanks for the time and the consideration that I should speak to you people there.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Paul, I'm very, very grateful for your to support us, give us this this knowledge. And like I said, I'll give you our feedback. I will probably call on you again to go maybe deeper into some of the project. But this has been wonderful. Thank you so much, Paul, for this time.
You are most and we are only a phone call away.
Okay, thank you so much.
Enjoy your weekend and God bless.
Yeah, God bless. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so that was Brother Paul in Ndola Central giving us the breakdown of how CDF works. I hope you gained some insights from there. My name is Roger on behalf of ZPTR. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.